This video is a punch in the gut on purpose. It's here to tell you exactly why you're still broke at 20, without excuses, without soft language, and without the comforting lies you usually hear. The purpose of this video is simple: to expose the real habits, mindsets, and mistakes that keep young men stuck, and to give you the clarity to break out of it before you waste your prime years. If you want to level up, build wealth, and stop repeating the same cycles, you're in the right place. And before we dive in, hit that subscribe button, because this channel is where you stop playing weak and start building a life that actually means something. At 20, you walk around like you've been handed a lifetime warranty. You act like the clock isn't ticking, like you'll figure it out later, like losing a day means nothing. That's the delusion. You think you're young, so you get comfortable wasting hours on your phone, binge-watching nonsense, gaming for entire nights, or killing weekends with people who won't matter in 2 years. You confuse being alive with actually living. Here's the truth. Time is the most brutal currency you'll ever handle. It compounds faster, hits harder, and punishes deeper than money ever will. You can lose money and get it back. You can lose a job and find another. But you lose a year at 20. That scar shows up at 25 when you realize other people built skills, connections, strength, and momentum while you were drifting. That gap feels like a canyon. The guys who climb in life don't have more hours than you. They just treat time like a weapon. They track it. They protect it. They cut out anything that wastes it. They don't casually give it away to people, habits, or distractions that drain them. They treat every hour as something they can invest and multiply. Broke men treat time like it's free, infinite, replaceable. They live like the clock is offering them favors. But the clock isn't your friend. It's the quiet judge that keeps ticking whether you move or not. If you don't start respecting time now, you'll wake up in a few years realizing you didn't run out of potential. You just ran out of hours to use it. Your biggest problem isn't that life is unfair or that you weren't born rich. Your biggest problem is that you're hooked on the cheapest, weakest forms of pleasure. You chase dopamine like a lab rat pressing a button. Every time you feel bored, uncomfortable, or challenged, you run straight to something that gives you a quick hit. A video, a snack, a distraction, a fantasy. Anything that numbs the discomfort of actually doing the work. You don't realize how badly this destroys you. Cheap dopamine rewires your brain. It kills your patience. It ruins your attention span. It makes you allergic to effort. The more you feed it, the weaker you get. That's why you can scroll for 2 hours but can't read for 10 minutes. That's why you can binge a series all night, but can't focus on your goals for even half an hour. You've trained your brain to avoid every form of discipline. And here's the brutal truth. Discipline is what builds wealth, skills, strength, and stability, not motivation, not luck. Discipline, the ability to do what matters even when you don't feel like it. But you can't build discipline when you're constantly flooding your brain with instant pleasure. Video games, junk food, porn, partying, endless entertainment. None of these things wreck you by themselves. They wreck you because they steal your drive. They take away the hunger you need to actually change your life. They make you soft, unfocused, and mentally lazy. You stop chasing progress because dopamine makes comfort feel more rewarding than ambition. You say you want success, but your habits scream otherwise. You're not broke because the world is stacked against you. You're broke because you can't control yourself. You keep choosing the easy hit instead of the hard path that pays off later. Once you break the addiction to cheap dopamine, your entire life shifts. Your mind sharpens, your energy grows, your self-respect returns. Success stops feeling impossible because discipline becomes your default, not your punishment. Until then, you'll stay trapped, not by your circumstances, but by your cravings. You say you want money, success, freedom, respect, yet you can't point to a single skill that actually earns any of those things. That's the contradiction that keeps most 20-year-olds stuck. They dream big but bring nothing of value to the table. They expect rewards without building the ability to deserve them. Most guys your age rely on hope, luck, or vague fantasies. They think something will work out. They think a job will magically appear. They think the future will sort itself out. But the market doesn't care about your age, your ambition, or your potential. It cares about what you can do. And right now, if all you can do is scroll, talk, complain, procrastinate, and survive, you're replaceable. That's why you stay broke. Because you haven't built anything rare, useful, or valuable. You want money but haven't developed the capability that money rewards. It's like wanting to win a fight without ever stepping inside a gym. At 20, you have more free time, more mental energy, and more flexibility than you'll ever have again. But instead of using it to learn the skills that actually pay, sales, marketing, editing, coding, design, content creation, copywriting, management, negotiation, you waste your years drifting. Meanwhile, the men who take the skill-building route quietly separate themselves from everyone else. They become useful, they become valuable, they become sought after. Here's the harsh reality. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to hand you a high-income skill. Nobody is going to force you to improve. You have to make yourself competent. You have to make yourself someone worth paying. A degree won't save you. A certificate won't make you rich. What matters is whether you can do something that solves a problem, generates money, or makes someone else's life easier. Your 20s should be a war zone of learning, not a vacation. Every hour you invest in a skill compounds into power, options, and income later. Every hour you avoid it locks you deeper into frustration and dependency. You don't need a degree. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You need competency. And right now, you haven't built it. The men who win are the ones who sharpen themselves early. The men who lose are the ones who avoid the grind and hope life takes pity on them. It one quote T. You fold the moment life stops being fun. The second something feels uncomfortable, challenging, or repetitive, you're out. That's the core problem. You think success should feel exciting every step of the way. You think building a future should be smooth, motivating, and enjoyable. That mindset destroys you. Life doesn't reward the soft, it crushes them. You give up when things get boring, and everything that matters eventually gets boring. The gym stops being exciting. Learning stops being exciting. Building a business stops being exciting. Discipline is built in boredom, not motivation. But you can't handle that monotony. So you quit and start something new, repeating the same cycle without ever finishing anything. Pressure makes you anxious. Difficulty makes you retreat. Failure makes you embarrassed. Instead of pushing through, you hide. You distract yourself. You rationalize. You tell yourself, this isn't for me, or I'll try something else. You run from discomfort like it's dangerous. But the truth is the danger is in avoiding it. You're broke not because you lack talent or opportunity, but because you avoid struggle, and struggle is what creates strength. Strong men don't magically appear. They're built through repetition, pain, setbacks, and resistance. They get punched by life and keep moving anyway. They don't melt at the first sign of friction. Every challenge you skip is a skill you never develop. Every obstacle you avoid is potential you kill before it ever grows. Every time you choose comfort over effort, you reinforce the weakest version of yourself. Mental toughness isn't about being emotionless or fearless. It's about showing up when you don't want to. It's about doing the work even when it sucks. It's about holding the line when your mind is screaming for comfort. It's about being the kind of man who can't be broken by boredom, pain, or inconvenience. Right now you're soft because you've trained yourself to be soft. You've chased ease, convenience, and reassurance instead of grit, patience, and consistency. You want the rewards of a strong man, but you live with the habits of a weak one. Until you rewire that, nothing in your life changes. You pause your entire life because you're scared of a reaction that isn't even coming. You hold yourself back because of people who wouldn't lift a finger to help you anyway. That's the sad part. You're not blocked by real enemies, you're blocked by ghosts. Imaginary critics. People who aren't thinking about you, aren't watching you, and won't remember your decisions tomorrow. You want to start a business, but you're scared someone from school will laugh. You want to post content, but you worry a random follower will think it sets cringe. You want to learn a new skill, but you fear looking like a beginner. You want to try something ambitious, but you panic that someone will judge you if you fail. That fear alone has already stolen years from you. Here's the truth. You need hammered into your skull. Nobody cares. Everyone is too busy dealing with their own insecurities, their own failures, their own life mess, to sit around analyzing your first attempt at anything. People barely remember what you posted last week, let alone what you're trying to build. You're paralyzed by judgment that exists only in your head. Meanwhile, the people who are actually winning in life move without hesitation. They don't ask for permission. They don't wait for approval. They don't care if someone smirks or whispers. They know that progress matters more than opinions, and the people with the loudest opinions are usually the ones with the least progress. You stay broke because you act like the world is watching you. It's not. You stay stuck because you want your first attempt to look perfect. It won't. You stay silent because you expect criticism, and ironically, the criticism never comes. Only the regret does. Ask yourself something brutally honest. Who are you living for? Are you going to keep delaying your future because you're scared a handful of people might talk for 5 minutes and forget about it in 10? If you don't outgrow this fear, you'll never move. You'll still be standing in the same place at 25, 30, 35, not because you lack potential, but because you lack the courage to be seen trying. Progress demands boldness. Success demands embarrassment. Growth demands that you look imperfect before you become impressive. Stop letting imaginary judgment make real decisions for you. That's how you stay broke. That's how you stay average. And that's how you waste the life you could have built. Most 20-year-olds handle money like it's some mythical force that just flows in and out of their life without rules. They treat it like air, something that just happens. They don't understand where money comes from, why it grows, why it disappears, or how to make it work for them instead of against them. You think earning money is about getting a job and waiting for paychecks. You think saving is for old people. You think investing is too complicated. You think opportunity will eventually land in your lap. That's fantasy-level thinking, and it's why you stay broke. Money follows math. Money follows systems. Money follows habits. If you don't understand those, you'll always be controlled by it. You don't understand income streams, so you rely on one source and panic when it dies. You don't understand saving ratios, so every dollar you get is gone within a week. You don't understand compounding, so you waste your early years when your time is most powerful. You don't understand investing, so you stay trapped in the cycle of working only for today, never for tomorrow. Broke men think money is for spending the moment it hits their hand. Successful men treat money like a soldier, something that can work for them, earn for them, and bring back more. When you get money, you look for comfort, food, clothes, gadgets, nights out, random junk that doesn't make you better. When successful men get money, they look for value, skills, tools, assets, investments, things that grow over time. One mindset digs a hole, the other builds a foundation. If you don't learn how money works, money will always control you. You'll go through life reacting instead of planning. You'll stay stuck living paycheck to paycheck, even when your income increases. Because the problem was never the cash, it was how you handled it. Money isn't magical. It's predictable. It rewards discipline, understanding, and strategy. It punishes ignorance, impulse, and emotion. Right now, you treat money like something that happens to you instead of something you can command. That's why you stay broke. The moment you flip that mindset, the moment you understand how money flows, multiplies, and compounds, everything changes. You don't need more money. You need more knowledge. Because once you understand how money works, you'll never be the same again. Your environment shapes you more than your motivation ever will. And right now, your environment is choking your potential. You don't realize how much your circle dictates your standards. At 20, you think your friends are just people to hang out with. But the truth is, they are actively molding your mindset for better or worse. Look at the people you spend the most time with. Do they push you forward? Or do they pull you sideways and call it friendship? If your circle has no ambition, no drive, no long-term vision, and no hunger, you will slowly lose yours too. Not because they're evil, but because humans mirror the people they're closest to. If your friends waste their days, complain non-stop, settle for mediocrity, avoid responsibility, and treat progress like a joke, you will absorb those habits. You'll normalize laziness. You'll normalize stagnation. You'll normalize being average. You see, you're not surrounded by bad people. You're surrounded by low standards, and low standards are contagious. When you're 20, social influence hits harder than any lecture, book, or motivational quote. Your circle quietly sets the baseline for what you consider acceptable. If everyone around you is broke mentally, scared to try, scared to fail, scared to grow, you'll adapt to survive in that environment. Your potential suffocates because you never see anything greater to aim for. Look at your conversations. Are they about goals, money, skills, and plans? Or gossip, drama, games, and distractions? Look at your habits when you sit around them. Do you level up? Or do you waste time? If your friends clown you for wanting better, that's not a circle, that's a cage. If they don't believe in dreams, they will never support yours. If they don't chase anything in life, they will resent you for chasing something in yours. Successful men don't outgrow friends, they outgrow mindsets. Broke men stay loyal to environments that destroy them. You don't need to cut everyone off overnight, but you damn well need to distance yourself from anyone who kills your drive. Surround yourself with doers, thinkers, builders, fighters, people who want more from life than comfort. Your circle is your financial destiny. Your friends are either fuel or poison. Choose wrong, and you'll carry their limitations into your future. If everyone around you is mentally broke, staying broke becomes your default. If you want to rise, don't expect to do it with anchors tied to your legs. You quote vague built your entire worldview around excuses. Every time something goes wrong, you look for a scapegoat instead of a solution. You point fingers at your country, your upbringing, the government, the job market, your parents, your past, your circumstances, anything that lets you avoid facing the truth. You are where you are because of the choices you've made and the habits you've repeated. That sounds harsh, but it sets reality. And most men never grow because they never swallow it. You think life owes you something. You think someone else is supposed to give you a chance, open a door, guide you, push you, rescue you, or motivate you. You think the world is supposed to treat you fairly, but life doesn't care about fairness. It cares about responsibility. The people who win take ownership of everything. The good, the bad, and the brutal. Right now, you're trapped because you've convinced yourself that your problems aren't your fault. It feels comforting to believe that. It lets you avoid guilt. It lets you stay passive. It lets you stay small. But it also guarantees you stay broke, because you cannot change a life you refuse to claim. Blame gives you an excuse. Responsibility gives you power. When you start telling yourself, it's all on me, something shifts. You stop waiting. You stop waiting. You stop waiting. You stop waiting. You stop expecting others to solve what you're not willing to fix. You become a man in control, not a passenger, blaming the driver. The truth is simple. If it's your fault, you can change it. If it's someone else's fault, you're powerless forever. That's why successful men embrace responsibility even when it hurts. They don't blame the economy. They learn skills. They don't blame their parents. They build their own path. They don't blame their environment. They outgrow it. They don't blame circumstances. They break through them. Every ounce of accountability sharpens them, hardens them, and pushes them ahead. Broke men stay broke because they're always pointing outward. Wealthy men grow wealthy because they point inward. Taking responsibility isn't about guilt. It's about reclaiming control. It's about saying, if my life is in my hands, then I can build it however I want. That's where real power starts. That's where momentum starts. That's where money starts. When you stop blaming and start owning, your entire life begins to move. Without responsibility, you stay stuck exactly where you are, waiting for a rescue that's never coming. You talk like you're serious about success, but your actions betray you. You want the lifestyle, the money, the freedom, the confidence, but you're allergic to the price that every successful man had to pay. You love the idea of winning, but you hate the reality of what it demands: long hours, isolation, frustration, discipline, repetition, and a level of consistency that feels brutal. You want the reward, not the grind. You want the final chapter, not the pages it takes to get there. You look at wealthy men and imagine they got lucky, or that everything clicked for them. You don't see the nights they stayed up alone working while everyone else slept. You don't see the weekends they sacrificed while their friends partied. You don't see the skills they drilled for years without applause. You don't see the failures, the rejections, the setbacks, the humiliations, the parts you're too soft to endure. You want a rich life without paying the entry fee. Success is simple but never easy. The cost is always the same. Your comfort, your free time, your laziness, your ego, your bad habits, your excuses. But you want to hold on to all of that and still expect to rise. You want to become someone new while clinging to everything that made you average. That's impossible. You stay broke because you refuse to sacrifice anything that matters. You think you can do the bare minimum and somehow end up extraordinary. It doesn't work like that. You think balance is something you deserve at 20 when you haven't earned a damn thing yet. You expect progress without pain, growth without discomfort, momentum without consistency. Every step of success requires giving something up. Money costs time, strength costs effort, mastery costs repetition, entrepreneurship costs sanity, skill building costs patience, discipline costs pleasure. You want to skip all of that and jump straight to the finish line. But here's the reality most men avoid. If you don't sacrifice for your goals, you will sacrifice your goals. If you don't choose your pain, life chooses it for you. Either you suffer now through the grind, or you suffer later through regret, and regret is far heavier. The men who win are the ones who embrace the sacrifices you keep dodging. The men who lose are the ones who thought they could cheat the process. You can sit. Nobody can. Success is a trade, and right now you're not willing to pay. Most 20-year-olds drift through life like a boat without a rudder. They wake up, react to whatever pops up, scroll through social media, hang out with the wrong people, and convince themselves that something will work out. That's not planning. That's praying and hoping while watching life slip past. You think figuring it out later is a strategy. It's not. It's a trap. Without a plan, every day is a coin toss. You spend energy, time, and effort, but none of it compounds because it's scattered, random, and aimless. You work hard but not smart. You're busy but not productive. You move but you go nowhere. Money, skills, and opportunities don't fall into the laps of men who wander. They find the men who know exactly what they want, exactly why they want it, and exactly how to get it. They reward precision, not chaos. They reward consistency, not hope. They reward action tied to a plan, not movement tied to boredom. At 20, you have an advantage most men never get: time. You have the chance to map out your future, set goals, and structure your life before responsibilities crush your freedom. And yet, most men waste it. They avoid timelines because timelines feel limiting. They avoid targets because failure is scary. They avoid planning because planning requires clarity, honesty, and commitment. 3 things they're not willing to give. Here's the brutal truth. A man without a plan is at the mercy of everyone else's plans. He waits for the job that someone else created. He chases opportunities someone else designed. He begs for validation instead of building value. Meanwhile, the men with direction are already steps ahead, earning, learning, and growing, while the rest stay stuck hoping the world notices them. The plan doesn't have to be perfect. A plan doesn't have to be massive, but it has to exist. It has to define your days, your priorities, your sacrifices, your learning, your earnings, and your moves. Without it, you're just surviving, not building. You're wandering, not winning. You're reacting, not commanding. The men who achieve their dreams aim with precision. They know their target. They chart their path and they move relentlessly toward it. You're just walking, hoping the universe decides to reward you. And that's why at 20, most men are still broke, confused, and behind before they even realize the race has started. If you're still broke at 20, it's not permanent, unless you keep living the same way. These mistakes aren't life sentences, they're warnings. Fix them now and your 20s become the decade that makes you unstoppable. Ignore them, and you'll wake up at 30 wondering why nothing changed. If you want to break out of mediocrity and build the life you keep imagining, Hit subscribe and stay disciplined. Your future self is begging you to start today.